Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a beautiful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your comments, and thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. And I want to shout out Mikey, Mr. Philosophy, Denise Laws, Justice Joyce TV, Anthony Gerard, Jesus Favor, J Rock, and Renee Allen. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Well, the title of this video is Begging in Africa. And this is something that has been talked about for a long time. And this is a part of your culture. Whatever you do on a daily basis, that's a part of your culture. There is a pattern, and a very public, very normalized pattern of officials, airport workers, police officers, and bureaucrats openly asking travelers for money. Not a fee, not a service, just a little something for them. And we're going to talk about it because we're talking about culture. They come over here talking about we don't have culture. Well, one of the cultures that we don't have is a culture of begging. In Black America, we don't beg. And if you're begging people for money, a police officer begging for money, in America, that's called a bribe. And it can get you fired from your job. But this is something that recurs in Africa all the time. And Black Americans who travel to Africa talk about the begging. Austin Holloman, who is a passport bro, although he doesn't call himself that, he has talked about the begging in Africa. And look at this.
Airport workers in Ghana are getting fired for begging. Yeah, begging, y'all. Check this out.
We are going to put out a hotline that you can report these instances to. We are also asking that the person who is asked requires a receipt. This is one of the ways to stop people from asking. So if you are able to issue a receipt for what you are asking for, that receipt will be brought to the attention of management, and we can use that as proof of the extortion. But where it is just complaining that they always beg and they're always asking me, but yet there's no hard evidence, we aren't able to crack down as much as we should.
Now here this woman is, I guess she's a judge on the High Court of Ghana, pretending that she doesn't know about it when people have been talking about the begging in Africa for years. Not only in Ghana, because somebody in the comment section of Donnie on Timeout's video said in Nigeria, it's worse. It's all over West and Central Africa. I don't think it's as bad in East Africa. The East Africans just seem to have a little bit better understanding about things than West Africans. West Africans think that they are so smart, but at the same time, they are doing stuff like this. And this woman, I just can't say, this woman is laughable because she acts like she doesn't know about it when people have been talking about this for years, how they beg. And Black Americans just started going over there in the last 20, 25 years, and they talk about the begging. They talk about how those Africans beg. Well, I just want you to know that this is a part of the culture. Whatever you're doing is part of the culture. And if somebody has to say something from the bench, a judge has to say something about it, it's a problem. And it's also disingenuous for us, the people who are being shaken down for money, to get a receipt. They know doggone well those people over there begging, they probably are begging too. They're not fooling anybody trying to make it seem like, oh, we're going to do something about this begging, bring us a receipt. No, you need to go out there and do your own investigation if you're concerned about the reputation of that country. She must think the people visiting Ghana are very stupid. Since when do you ask a scammer for a receipt? And look who else is talking about it. Africa, a culture of begging.
Africa, a culture of almsgiving, begging, and handouts. When you arrive at ports in Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, and many other African countries, you are often greeted by people soliciting handouts. This includes immigration officials, custom agents, taxi drivers, and people simply loitering or looking for opportunities to beg.
Now, y'all know that I have a love-hate relationship with this guy. He's talking about his own people, and he's talking about things that they are doing that he doesn't like. I'm not going to play the whole video. I'll try to remember to put it in the comment section so you can see it if you want to. But he goes through the whole thing about how they beg in Africa. And it's something that needs to be made public, and it needs to be something that is so talked about that they are shamed out of doing it because it's awful. They shake down their own people. It's not just at the airport. It's all over West and Central Africa, according to him. So watch his video. He breaks it down. And that judge woman talking about bringing a receipt is absurd. She's sitting there acting like she doesn't know that they have a culture of begging in Africa. Everybody is talking about it. But see, the reason that the Bantu Diaries man is talking about it so much is because Black Americans are talking about it. They come over here popping off about their culture and about their education and about, oh, they have so many languages and all this, and they're begging everybody that shows up. Even children, they're begging children. The man in the Bantu Diaries said they were begging his daughter for money, and she's just a teenager. So they have a culture of begging. That is the point that I want to make clear. Along with all of their other accolades about culture, they also have a culture of begging. And this is what one traveler said. You land at the airport. Before you even get your passport stamped, somebody is asking for money. You go through customs, another request. You step outside, the police might stop you, not for a violation, but for an informal fee. You try to get to your hotel, someone else is asking for a tip for simply pointing you in the direction you are already going. And this isn't about poverty. This isn't about everyday people hustling. This is institutional begging. People in official positions using their authority to solicit or beg for money from travelers. Why is this happening? Government salaries are extremely low. Officials create their own income stream because the system doesn't pay them enough to survive. Corruption becomes normalized, not hidden, not shameful, normal. When enforcement is weak, people do what they want. When tourism is a major income source, travelers become targets for informal payment, and they do it to everybody. At the airport, anybody coming into that country, black, white, brown, or otherwise, is going to get shaken down for money. But everyday people in Africa get shaken down all the time. And nobody's making exactly how much money they want to make, but you have to learn how to live within your means wherever you are. And I want to make this clear and very clear. Culture is also how institutions behave. Culture is also how officials treat citizens. Culture is how police interacts with the public. Culture is how airports operate. So if begging is normalized inside official spaces, that's part of the culture of governance. And you can't brag about culture and then pretend this part doesn't exist. So while you're doing all this bragging about your culture, make sure you include begging in that. Now, the man from the Bantu City Diaries says that the problem is mostly in West and Central Africa, that they don't do nearly as much begging in East Africa, except he says it does happen in Kenya. But he said they don't do as much of that as West Africans. And he says it's not as bad in South Africa, but they do beg. So this begging is something that they do. So yes, begging in official spaces is part of the institutional culture in certain African countries. And it's not because they're bad people, it's because they're poor. But let me just tell you something, and I'm going to end with this. Black Americans have been through slavery, through Jim Crow, through discrimination in education and employment, in every kind of setback that you can have. But we do not have a culture of begging. Am I right or am I wrong? Let me know what you think about it, and have a good day.